Hello, welcome to more yoga with me, Emily. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, the day that I'm recording this, the smoke has finally cleared from Vancouver, but I'm still feeling it in my lungs. So, again, we're going to amp it up just a little bit, but not too much that you just have me breathing really heavily and rattling into the microphone for the whole class. Little bit of a flow, nothing too crazy. Let's get the blood moving a little bit, the heart pumping. So let's actually start in child's pose. If you're comfortable there, you can have your knees wide with your toes together to get into the hips a little bit more, or you could have the knees together to get into the low back a little bit more. And if child's pose isn't comfortable, you can lie down on your back and hug your knees in toward your chest. So wherever you need to be, and depending on what position you're in, your head might be further or closer to the floor, so you might stack fists underneath your forehead or blocks, or maybe your forehead comfortably reaches the earth. It doesn't really matter, just see where you are today. And then for a few breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. And continue breathing however feels best, whether it's in and out through your nose or your mouth. With every inhale, imagine your spine lengthening from your tailbone up to the crown of your head. And with each exhale, a gentle softening of your front body toward the earth. Inhale to find length, and exhale to soften. Last couple breaths here. And then slowly start to walk your upper body off the left edge of your mat. So you're staying in child's pose. It's normal for the hips to lift a little bit here. If you have your thighs together, you might try taking your knees wide. And you can clamp down on top of your right hand with your left, or even grab the wrist. With each exhale, think of lengthening your right sit bone back toward your heels. Breathe into the right side of the body. And exhale, lengthen the right sit bone back. One more breath here. And then slowly inhale, walk your body through center and over to the right. As gentle or as deep of a side stretch as you need. And then breathe now into the left side of your body. And exhale, lengthen the left sit bone back toward your heels. And then slowly inhale back through center. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders and press yourself up to hands and knees. Now that's been quite a long compression on the back of the legs, so you might step one leg out and the other just to release that. And then come back to hands and knees, setting up with knees underneath hips. Toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever feels good for you. Hands outer shoulder width apart or wider. And then inhale, lift the tailbone, hollow through the lower back, broaden through the collarbones. And exhale, round through your spine. Really tuck the tailbone under, press the spine up to the sky. Inhale to dip the belly, broaden through the chest. And exhale to round. Last couple breaths, moving however you need to through cat and cow. Maybe there's some big circles you want to do with your torso. And then gently come back to center. Make sure your hands are nice and wide. Spread the fingertips wide. Tuck your toes. Exhale, lift the hips up and back into downward facing dog. You could pedal the heels toward the floor. You could wag your tail from side to side. Whatever you need. Some days it feels good to shorten your down dog stance. Some days it feels good to lengthen it. So play with those options if you wish. And let your head hang heavy. Bend your knees. Walk your hands back to your feet at the back edge of the mat, standing forward fold. You might stay here. You could rest your elbows on your knees or thighs. You might clasp opposite elbows with hands. You could sway a little bit from side to side. As always, whatever you need, right? You know your body better than I do. I can't see what you're doing, so it doesn't really matter to me, so long as you're pain-free. And then bend your knees, walk your hands back to the top edge of your mat, downward facing dog. Excuse me. Bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge with fingertips to shins or maybe blocks or the floor. Inhale, a little partway lift. Exhale, let it go. Couple more. And then bend your knees, tuck your chin into toward your chest, head heavy, arms heavy. Slowly roll up to standing. One vertebra at a time, slow as you need to go, until eventually you come all the way up. Couple loops of your shoulders, up, back, and down. Little wiggle, release, whatever you need to release. And then feel a hug of the legs toward each other. Tailbone to the earth slightly, belly button to spine. Shoulder blades on your back. Inhale, sweep the arms up to the sky. Maybe follow with your gaze. Exhale, dive or fold down to the earth, forward fold. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands on your inhale, step back to plank. So the top of a push-up, either from your toes or from your knees, wherever you need to be today. Squeeze your bum, squeeze the tops of the thighs, press the floor away. Really active through the fingertips. And then look to the top edge of your mat. You can always come down to the knees first. Exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. Little wiggle of your hips from side to side. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of the feet into the earth. So much so you feel your kneecaps lift away. Send your tailbone to the back wall. Feel your belly button engage toward your spine. And then inhale, lift the heart forward and up. Baby cobra. Exhale, lower back down. Couple more on your own time. And if you always press up right away into full cobra, try letting the hands hover today instead. So really try and tap into the strength in the back line of the body. And then plant your hands, tuck your toes. Exhale, lift the hips all the way up and back. Downward facing dog. Couple breaths here. Bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, walk, step, or hop to the top edge. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Charge your legs. Inhale, sweep all the way up to the sky. Exhale, right back down to the earth, forward fold. Inhale, lift up partway. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Inhale, hop, step, or float back to plank. Exhale, lower all the way or part way to the earth. Inhale through baby cobra, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift your right leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrists, hips high. Inhale, back up. Exhale, right knee to right armpit or elbow, hips high. Inhale, back up. Exhale, draw the knee across to the left, keep the hips high. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee comes to nose, and then pause here. Really press the floor away. Super active through the shoulders. And then exhale, step your right foot to your thumb. Your back knee could be up or down. You might bring a chip foam block underneath the back knee. And then inhale, come up for half lunge. So you can back out of it. You can go off alignment, shake it out, go wherever you need to go, but then start to settle into the hips. Back toes could be tucked or untucked, only if the back knee is down. And then inhale the arms overhead. Chill out on the shrug muscles a little bit. Really squeeze the bum on the back leg, regardless of if the back knee is up or down. From here, flip the left palm up, reach the right arm behind you, scoop the left hip underneath, exalted warrior or lunge, and exhale, windmill your hands to the earth, step back, flow, or downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift your left leg high, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, shoulders over wrists. Inhale, back up. Exhale, left knee to left armpit or elbow, hips high. Inhale, back up. Exhale, draw the knee across to the opposite side. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee comes to nose, and then pause. Compress through the front body. Bring more space to the back body. Exhale, step left foot to thumb. Back knee can be up or down. And then inhale, come up for low lunge. And again, you might back out of it or shake out any tension, but then start to settle, hugging the legs toward each other. Squeeze the bum on that right leg. And the hands might gently drift up to the sky. Ground the front heel for a little bit more stability. And then gently flip the right palm up, reach the left arm behind you, scoop the tailbone under slightly, exalted lunge. And exhale, windmill the hands to the earth, step back, flow, or downward facing dog. Or child's pose if you wish. Couple breaths. Wherever you've landed, whether it's in movement or in stillness. On your inhale, let's bring it back in downward facing dog. And on your inhale, lift your right leg high, three-legged dog. And then stack your hips. So the hips open up to the right, bend the top knee, hug that heel in toward your bum a little bit more, and then wrap the right shoulder toward the earth or the armpit. And then can you think of lifting that knee a little bit higher? One more breath here. And then inhale back to three-legged dog. Exhale, step your right foot between your hands. And then spin the back heel for warrior two. So maybe it's heel to heel or heel to arch alignment. Doesn't really matter, just wherever you get more space. And then when you inhale, come on up. Back foot slightly turned in is going to help with support here, as well as giving you, kind of something interesting on the back leg. because it's an internal rotation then. Bend both knees, stick your booty back, get a little wiggle on, a little shake, and you can rock side to side. I've got something weird going on with my front knee, so I'm not going to go super deep on this side today. And then maybe you start to feel like sinking into that front knee as you supercharge your back leg towards straight. Again, imagine that you're on ice skates, you don't want the feet to fly away, so hug the legs back to the center line. And can you de-weight the big toe on the back foot, right? So you're not rolling into the arch of the foot. Inhale the arms out to the side. Okay, let's clear out the lungs a little bit. On your inhale, straighten through the front leg, bring your arms up overhead. As you exhale, press the palms out and breathe out through your mouth. Inhale overhead, exhale. Couple more. And then pause back in your warrior two. On your inhale, gently straighten the front leg. Heel and toe the back foot in quite a bit, depending on how long your stance was. Hug the legs toward each other, belly button to spine. Make sure the knees aren't locking out though, so there's still buoyancy here. And then start to shift your hips back, right? Like someone's pulling the top of your hip with a rope. The upper body naturally goes forward to counterbalance. Scoop the front hip back and under to come into your triangle pose. You don't have to look up to the sky, that's okay. Wrap both shoulders onto your back, spiral these upper left ribs open to the sky. And then inhale, come all the way back up. Bend your knees, start to pick up the back heel, turning the hips to the front of the room or the mat. And step forward, shake it out a little bit. Heel and toe the feet together so the big toe mounds are touching. Keep a little space between the heels. Hug the legs toward each other, and then an inhale, chair pose. So hips down and back, right? Using these big inner thigh muscles while you're in chair pose with the feet touching takes all the pressure off the tops of the thighs. You're welcome to stay here, or as you exhale, sweep forward, come up onto your toes, and then inhale, back chair pose. Exhale, fly. Last one. Exhale, release, forward fold, heel and toe the feet apart again. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, flow, or downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift your left leg high, three-legged dog, and then stack your hips, bend the top knee, wrap the left armpit toward the floor, hug the heel in toward your bum without giving yourself a hamstring cramp, and then start to lift that knee a little bit higher. Inhale, back warriors, or three-legged dog. Exhale, step your left foot between your hands, spin the back foot to the earth for warrior two. And then an inhale, come on up. So again, you can stick your booty back, get a little wiggle on, little shake. Thanks, Siri, for interjecting. I don't know if you heard that. And then eventually maybe you start to sink into that front knee, hugging the legs toward each other. De-weight the big toe on the back foot. And then inhale the arms out. Couple breaths here, just feeling your warrior two. And then on your next inhale, straighten the front leg, arms overhead. Exhale, out through the mouth. Couple more. Last one. Pause here. And then gently straighten the front leg, heel into the back foot in. Ooh, kind of a little little boogie there. Shift your hips back. The upper body will start to reach forward. Scoop that front hip back and under, and then start to come into your triangle pose. Spiral those upper right ribs open to the sky. Lean back into an imaginary wall behind your upper back. Couple breaths. And then inhale all the way back up. Start to de-weight the heel on the back foot. Turn the hips forward. And exhale. Ha. Step to the top edge of your mat. Heel and toe the feet together again. Big toe mounds touching. And then inhale, chair pose. Tailbone down slightly. Hug the legs toward each other. Again, you're welcome to stay here or exhale, fly. Coming up onto the toes. Inhale, chair. Exhale, fly. And if you fall out of chair pose, it's okay, right? You're already on the floor. Pause, chair pose. Exhale, release, forward fold. 3 breaths, inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, let it all go. Okay, you have a few options here. First one is to take your peace fingers and bring them underneath your big toes. Knees super deeply bent to start with. So you want your belly resting comfortably on your upper thighs. Second option is to step the palms of the hands all the way underneath the soles of the feet so the toes are up at the creases of the wrist. Third option, if you want to bind on one leg at a time, go ahead and then release your head. From here, draw your elbows wide, shoulder blades down the back, maintaining that tension through the upper body, through the arms. Maybe then you start to straighten the back of the legs a little bit. So you have this interesting push and pull, tension, activation, release. All these beautiful things. And then gently release your feet, little shake or sway. Inhale, little partway lift. Exhale, fold. Heel and toe your feet apart, mat width. Your toes might be off the edge of your mat. And as you exhale, sit down into squat or malasana. Wrap your shoulders onto your back. Can you de-weight your big toes even here, right? So you're not caving in. There's energy, there's lift here. You might stay here, palms in prayer. You might reach the arms forward. Or you could clasp them behind your back. Last couple breaths. And then gently bring your hands behind you. Sit down. Whew. Shake it out a little bit. Windshield wiper the knees. And let's get into the glutes a little bit. So left leg stays extended in front of you. And then cross your right ankle over top of your left thigh. This might be enough for you in that outer right hip. In which case, perfect, stay here. If you'd like a little bit more, spine long, lean back, bend the bottom knee. And then maybe you bring your hands behind the back of that left thigh. Make sure you're not hunching though, right? Long spine, because you'll just lose the stretch. The closer you bring that leg toward you, the more you will feel it. Some of you I know will prefer to fold that bottom shin underneath and stack ankles and knees for fire logs. Go there if you'd like to go there, fold forward, whatever you need. A few more breaths here. And then as slowly as you came into it, start to unwind And then keep that right foot in front of you, but just bring it to the inside of your left thigh. And then you might kind of wiggle the sit bones a little bit so you're sitting up tall on both. Inhale here, exhale, start to walk your upper body forward. Now stay on a long line to start with. If you feel like you're really rounding through the low back, sitting up on something like a chip foam block or a folded up towel will help tilt the pelvis forward. It'll give you a little bit more range of movement. Some of you might round over top of the leg. Another option is to walk the upper body over to the left a little bit. Or maybe you grab the outer edge of your left foot with your right hand so you get a little bit more through the back too. It becomes kind of like a full body stretch. Hamstrings, calves, IT band, lats. Wherever you need to be. Last couple breaths. Make sure there's a little buoyancy on that knee. And slowly inhale, walk yourself back up. Bend your knees, shake it out a little bit. And then we'll switch the opposite side. So right leg comes forward, left ankle crosses over top of the right thigh. Keep that ankle nice and active. Again, maybe you stay here. Maybe you start to lean back as you bend that bottom knee. You can interlace the hands for a nice bind around that back, the back of that right thigh. Maybe you draw the leg in closer. Maybe you choose to stack your legs and round forwards or wherever you need to go, wherever you want to go, right? As long as you don't feel pain. And as long as you're not pushing yourself too far or too close to the end range of the stretch. Last few breaths here. And then very slowly start to rewind, going back to the start where we began. Unhook that left foot, and then find your sit bones again. Lift tall, a little micro bend on that right knee, and then slowly walk your upper body forward. And you might stay on a long line and see how that feels in the low back. Maybe you choose to round forward, walk even further forward. You could walk your upper body over to the right. Think of drawing that right hip back slightly. Maybe you grab the outer edge of the right foot with your left hand. One more inhale. One sweet exhale. And then slowly unwind back to center. Bend your legs. Shake them out a little bit. And then bring your feet to the top edge of your mat. Exhale. Slowly roll down to the earth. Hug your knees into your chest. Take a little rock from side to side. And let's end with a gentle twist. So shift your hips to the right a little bit. Exhale, lower the knees to the left. As gentle or as deep as you need. We won't be here for very long though. Last breath here. Then inhale, come back to center, reset your spine, your pelvis. Maybe the hips shift left a little bit before you lower the knees to the right. Last breath. And then inhale, come back to center. If there's anything else you feel like you need before your rest, please feel free to take it. It could be a happy baby or some sort of spinal flexion or extension. And then think about where you would like to go for your rest, whether it's flat on your back, legs bent or straight in corpse pose. You could rest in child's pose, where we began, or in a seated meditation, wherever you will feel at ease. And then once you've found your pose of rest, for 3 breaths, inhale through your nose. Exhale, sigh your breath away. Couple more. With each exhale, let your body melt a little bit deeper toward the earth. Let go of all breath control, all muscle tension or gripping, particularly in your face or your jaw. Stay here longer if you can, 5 or 10 minutes. Thank you so much for joining me today. Namaste.